Hello, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Russell, and today I am going to be showing you one of my favorite ever games. It's a very small micro deck building game, and it's called Flip City. So this game is designed by someone called Chih Fan. It's published by Tasty Minstrel Games, and it's a micro deck builder. So this game is essentially like a deck building game. So each player starts with like a deck of cards that's the same as every other player. They're going to shuffle their cards and they're going to draw cards or play cards into the play area until they either stop and then they go and use whatever sort of stuff they've accumulated, or they go bust, which is one of my favorite game mechanics. It's a push your luck mechanic. So yeah, micro deck builder. It's a really good game. I will be teaching it in a bit, but in case anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah, this shouldn't be a super long stream, so hopefully we might even be able to catch all of it. I'm probably going to play like a couple of games. Now, this game, Flip City, came out in, good question, when did it come out? I'm not 100%. It came out like a few years ago. According to the box, it came out 5 years ago, so it's a little bit of an older title, but it's stuck in my head and it's really good. It actually even comes with an expansion called Reuse, which we might check out later on if we've got time. But yes, this is a 1 to 4 player game, so there's enough cards in here to play for up to 4 players. And it also comes with a solo mode, which is the mode that I'll be checking out today. So, yeah, basically let's get stuck in. I'm going to just switch over and we'll teach the game. There we go. Perfect. Sorry, I really need to sort out an easy way to do that because it's a bit fiddly. Okay, so this game, like I said, micro deck building game. Setup is really simple. You basically give each player 4 of these residential area cards. Now these cards are all double-sided because you might have insinuated this from the title of the game, but Flip City involves flipping cards sometimes. So each of these cards are double-sided. So you've got the residential area and the apartment. You're going to give each player 4 residential areas. So you'll see the 4 here, and 1 apartment side face up. So you'll get 5 of the same card, but 1 of them will be face up the other way. So this is one of the cards, the cards that you give everybody. You also give the players 1 each of the other 4 main cards. Now you'll see there's actually 5 cards on the top there, but those include the office, which is a mini expansion, which you do not have to play with when you're playing this game. So if you don't want to play with the office, you don't have to, but I will be today, just because I want to. So you give each player 1 of the other 4 buildings, the main ones, face up on the coin side. So you'll see on the other side of these buildings, they don't have coin values. This is because you don't actually buy those cards, you develop them, which we'll get to later on. But ultimately, you start with the same deck of cards. You've got 5 of those, 4, so you'll have a 9 card deck to start with. Now, this game doesn't have, well, it does have a discard pile, but it doesn't have... it's basically one of the important things when you're playing this game is you may not see the card behind the top decks. You shouldn't ever hold your cards in such a way that you can kind of tell what's coming underneath. So you kind of, the way that I've used to use my, well, hold the deck of cards just to avoid that is basically holding it firmly like that in your hand. And when it comes to revealing a card, just being very careful to only slide the top card off, because what's on the top of the deck might impact your gameplay, and if you kind of see something underneath that you shouldn't, you can technically cheat. So yeah, just be careful of that. Now the gameplay is super simple as well. Each turn, in a normal game, each player will take a turn. It'll be the same format of turn, and then the next player takes a turn, and you keep going around until 1 player wins, and that's it. Now, the winning condition, because obviously you want to figure out what exactly a win condition is, there's two different win conditions here. The first is to play 8 victory points. I'm going to use the Central Park card here to show you exactly what a victory point is. So if you look at the bottom left of that card, you'll see these sort of rosette symbols. Those are, actually I think if I use that one it might be easier. Anyway, just because I think that one has got autofocus on it, but yeah. If you play 8 of those in a single turn, that is playing 8 of these into here without going bust, you will win the game. There is, however, a second victory condition, and that involves the convenience store. On the bottom of this card, it says, if you play 18 or more cards this turn, you win. So that's a second victory condition. And if you achieve either of those during the game, you win, and the other players lose. Okay. So how does a turn work? Well, a turn begins with playing a card. Well, it begins with the play cards phase. So the first thing, you'll always play one card. You play cards into the play area. So I'll be playing them sort of right in the middle of the table so you can see. And basically, after you've played at least one card, you have a decision to either stop if you haven't gone bust, or you must end your turn if you have gone bust. So what does it mean by going bust? Well, you'll see on each of these cards, there are little resources, different symbols, basically. So the main one we're looking at here is the sad face. So you'll see on the bottom left of this card, there's a sad face symbol. That's unhappiness. Now, if you cause too much unhappiness during the game, during the round, you go bust. Now, you can accept 1 or 2 happiness in your play area, so that would be fine. But if you ever have to play, or actually accidentally choose to play a card that kind of pushes you over your limit, then you go bust this turn and you actually don't get anything. So it's really bad. You've got to try and avoid that at all costs. However, there are some ways to mitigate happiness, and that involves some of the other buildings, which we'll get to later on. The other symbol that you can see in the bottom left of these cards is gold, just money. So that one's got a 1 on it. And this one has a 2 on it. Now, this is money which you'll spend, and you probably already got to this. You can spend that money if you get to the next phase, which is the buy cards phase, in the market here. So you'll see there's different cards that you can buy, and there's a different cost for each. But that money can also be used to develop cards, and that's what we call flipping over a card to its other side. So that's another way that you can spend money. We'll get to that later on as well. Now, the third and final thing that you'll see on these cards is the victory points, which we've already explained. They help you win the game. Okay, so yeah, basically there are some other things as well. When you look on the bottom of the card is a sort of rule which might come into play when the card is visible, or it might come into play when the card is played into the play area, or it might just be a rule that happens when you flip the card over. So basically, the most important one that we're going to sort of look at here is the residential area. The bottom of this card says, when residential area is the top card of your deck, you must play it. Now, you'll notice that that card has an unhappiness on it. So if you're playing the game and you draw a card, let's say this happened to you. Say this could happen in the first turn of the game. This is your card, so you have to play it the first turn. You'll notice that now the next card on my thing is residential area, so I have to play this card. So I'd play this, and if I was very unlucky, the third card, as you can see, is also residential area as well. So this means I have to play this card, and as you can see, this means that I've gone bust because I've revealed 3 unhappy faces. So that's past the limit that I have, okay? So that's the most important one that'll come into effect. The hospital, well actually the convenience store, what is it worth going over there now? Yeah, so basically after you choose to stop or you go bust, if you choose to stop and you're still not bust, then you get to go to the second phase, which is the buy cards phase. And there's 3 things you can do here. You can either buy a card, so you'll look at the money that you've gained. So let's just use this as an example. This means I have 3 money, okay? Actually, technically 4 money because of the hospital's ability, but we'll get to that later on. So we have 4 money, and now I can spend it to either buy a card. So I look at this and I see I've got 4 money, so I could buy the convenience store or the office or the hospital. What I cannot do is buy, actually, I think that there is no limit to how many you can buy. I've always just assumed that, but let's just double check. The buy card, yes, it's 1 card. 1 card, yeah. So yeah, you can only buy 1 card per turn. So if you wanted to spend that 4 money, you could buy a convenience store and just throw away that other 2 money, that's fine. But in that case, you may have chosen to stop sort of there, for example, instead of carrying on playing the convenience store. The second thing that you can do is flip. Now, flipping is only available to cards in your discard pile. The cards in your hand are obviously not available, neither are the cards in your play area. So let's say, for example, that I've got these cards in my discard pile. What I can do now is I can spend any money that I've accumulated during this turn. Instead of buying a card, I can put it towards flipping a card. Now, if you look at the bottom right hand side of each of these cards, and not all of these will have it, but all of the cards will have it, but not the other side of the cards. They might not have that ability. There's a little cost of money next to a sort of like rotated arrow. That's the cost to flip that card. The cost, as I said, you can only do that once. So in this instance, it may not be more worthwhile because you can't afford the 5, but you can only afford the 1. So is it really worth it to do that? Well, depends on what sort of like is on the other side of the cards. So when you do that, you literally turn over the card and you keep it in your discard pile. Then you'll obviously add all the cards to the discard pile, and then that's the end of your turn. The third option that you have, and this is usually when you have a lot of money, you don't want to see it go to waste, is called the develop action. And this was where you take one of these cards and you flip it when you are buying it. So that's just adding those two costs together. So if I was to do the develop action with the convenience store, it cost me 5 money, but I would literally take that card, flip it over immediately and add it to my discard pile. I should also say, by the way, when you are buying cards as well, they also go into your discard pile. So after you've bought or flipped or developed, and you can only do one of those actions, that's the end of your turn, and you discard those cards, and then that's it, you go into the next player's turn. So that's very simple so far. What happens in the game itself? Oh, actually, I just realized I want to make sure I'm not adding too many cards to my deck to cheat. So yeah, basically, let's have a look at what each of the cards does. Okay, so actually, first of all, let's look at the residential area. We already know what the top ability of that is, but if you look on the other side, the apartment is also an unhappiness and a coin, but it basically is not forcing you to play it, so it's generally better than a residential area. You'll also see that this card, if I was to flip it, costs 8 coins. But if you do flip this card, in the usual game, you would actually then place it onto another player's discard pile. So it allows you to sort of pass these bad cards to other players, which is quite interesting. I'm just checking if the sound is okay, because I just realized that I haven't checked that. So I do apologize. I'm going to quickly check the sound is fine, because I've got some background music on, you might have heard. I just realized that I haven't checked that, so I do apologize. You can't really hear the background music, funny enough, so let me just pop that up again. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, basically the convenience store is the next ability. Oh, so in the solo version of the game, by the way, which we're playing, the residential areas, well, the apartments, when they're flipped, they actually just get removed from the game, just so you know. So let's have a look at the convenience store. The convenience store adds that ability to win by playing 18 cards in a single turn, which can be achieved. It's usually the other way of winning, which is the victory points, but this can be done as well. On the other side of the card is the shopping mall. So this gives you 2 coins, a victory point, and it says if your deck is not empty, you must play an additional card. So if you play this, then you must play another card after this. So the shopping mall encourages more buildings, essentially. So thematically, they lightly kind of tie in. Okay, so the convenience store is that. Then the next up we have the office. Now I haven't got any offices in my deck, but this is quite a neat one. So the office gives you 1 coin, but when shuffling you may set this card aside and then place it on top afterwards. So basically guarantees you some money when you play that. But this only obviously happens when you're shuffling your deck. So just be aware of that. I'm going to make sure I don't have lost my dashboard. There we go. Okay, so the hospital, so the other side of this is the trade center. So it gives you 2 money, and you'll see there's a new symbol here, which is an unhappiness with a green arrow on it. It says flip this card, then shuffle your discard pile into your deck. So basically, if I want to, I can, that's actually interesting. I'm not sure entirely what that is. I should have checked that up before. But ultimately, they each have different abilities. So this one says gain 1 unhappiness for this turn. Wow. So, yeah, that's what it says. Gain 1 unhappiness this turn. That was quite interesting. Yeah. So that one's, yeah, so basically that symbol, actually, let me check what that symbol means, because I think that means you can choose when to do it. When this card is flipped, when this card is recycled. Yes. So basically, one of the things you can do on your turn, you can recycle it when it's in your discard pile. Anytime during the play cards phase, you can actually choose to use any ability, and you'll see one of those on the convenience store as well. You can actually use the ability of this card if it's in your discard pile by flipping it over, and this one gains you an unhappiness, but this one gains you a money, but it obviously then sort of converts it back to a convenience store. This one says when you flip it, so when gaining unhappiness, you'll shuffle your discard pile into your deck. Now this is going to be useful when I come to explain the sort of the solo rules. So that one, just bear in mind, that's what that means. I can flip it over and gain an unhappiness, but shuffle my discard pile into my deck. Okay, so then we got the hospital. This is the one where you gain money for each unhappiness you've gained this turn. Now that means when you play it. So let's just do an example here. Let's say that these 2 cards are in my play area and I've chosen to play the hospital. This means that not only do I get the 1, 2, 3 money for the visible money, but I also gain an extra 3 money because when I play the hospital and the 2 buildings before it have a total of 3 unhappiness on it. And so that will give me an extra 3 coins. And this is another reason why when you're playing the game, you play them in sort of the order that you've played them or revealed them, because this will help you work out, if you carry on playing, how much money you make, essentially. So yeah, that's the hospital. And the other side of this is one of my favorite abilities. This is the church. When this is played, it adds 1 to your unhappiness limit this turn. So ultimately got a bit jumbled with my words there. Ultimately, it means that you can go and play more cards without going bust. That can be very useful. Okay, so we've talked about that, and then make sure I'm not cheating again by taking cards from the supply. We've got the factory. So the factory is a 2 coin, so it gives you 2 money. It also says if your deck is not empty when you play this, place the bottom card from your deck into the discard pile. So if I was to start my round like this, I would play this and I would get rid of the bottom card and put it in discard. Simple. On the other side of the factory is the power plant. This one gives you 1 happiness, 1 money, and 2 victory points. And it says place an apartment from your discard pile into another player's discard pile. Now, there are no other players in the solo variant, so what that means is you'll just get rid of it out of the game. So that could be quite nice. And you'll see here a new symbol, which again, I want to double check. This is after recycling this card, put it on top of your deck. So basically, if it's in my discard pile, I can recycle it, basically just putting it on top of my deck. So basically meaning I can guarantee another 2 money for my next turn. So that's the factory. Finally, we have the central park, which looks very, very nice there. This one gives you 2 victory points. So this is the main way of kind of pursuing the sort of end game condition. And when you do this, you may buy 1 additional time during this building phase, and that is buy. So there are 3 things you can do. You can either buy, flip, or develop. This one, if you revealed it during this turn, you can use any money you've gained this turn and buy 2 different cards. I think two cards, 2 different cards, whatever, it doesn't matter. They can be the same if you want. And on the other side of this, we've got the station, which gives you 3 victory points. So again, more about getting that end game condition. And this says you may flip 1 additional time during the building phase, and your flips cost 1 less. So that's very helpful, because if you wanted to, for example, flip the apartment, it takes it down to 7 coins, which is much more, well, slightly more achievable in a round. So you'll also see this. If I flip this card from my discard pile, I will gain 1 victory point for my, so basically this one means putting it back onto there, and what does it say? Need to recycle it in the discard pile. Yes, you can turn over its contemporary cards. Remains in your discard pile. Yeah, so it will go in your discard pile, but it gives you an extra victory point. So that could be the way that you win the game. Okay, so that's all of the cards explained. So the only difference in the solo mode is when you're setting up the game, there are a certain number of cards that you play into the sort of common pile, and that's like the limit to how many cards players can buy during the game. In this case, in the solo mode, we have given 4 cards for each pile. However, what happens in this game is whenever I have to discard, shuffle my discard pile, because like a normal deck builder, if I run out of cards in my hand, I can shuffle the cards from my discard pile into forming a new one. But in this solo version of the game, whenever I do that, I must choose one of these available cards, remove it from the game. When the game ends, the game ends when all of the cards are gone. So I have to achieve the victory condition before all of the cards are removed, and that means like shuffling my cards in this game is bad. There is one more thing I want to say about shuffling cards, because I kind of didn't touch on it, but I assumed you played deck building games before, but you might not have. So obviously discard piles is cards you've used up on your turn, so you play, etc. And then when you're done, you buy cards, and then they go into your discard pile. In this game, when you run out of your cards in your hand, you have a choice. You can choose to stop there and just end your turn, or you can choose to shuffle your card. Shuffle your cards into a deck again. But that comes with a risk, because if you have a residential area card still in your deck, there's a chance that it could be the top card of that deck. So if that happens and you choose to shuffle, and we'll do it so that you can't actually see which cards you're shuffling, so you have to do it kind of honestly. So if you were playing in a normal thing, you'd probably just do it under the table, so you definitely can't see, and you go, right, I'm stopping, and then you reveal. And if it's a residential area, unfortunately you do have to play that card, even if you didn't want to. However, if it's not a residential area in this game, you don't have to play the card even if you've shuffled. Okay, so that's just an important note about this specific sort of deck building game. So I believe I've told you everything about how to play the game. So now we can actually just start playing. If you have any questions, by the way, I'm just going to be drinking my coffee during this because I didn't drink it before, and I need one a day basically. Cheers if you're drinking tea or coffee at home. Okay, so we're ready to begin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shuffle the cards and we're going to get started. So hopefully we'll be able to do this. What I'm going to try and do at the end of the video, or the end of the gameplay, is if we've got time, I might do it again with the expansion. Maybe I'll choose to take some cards out, because there's no rules in the expansion for playing with the solo mode. So that's something I'm a little bit concerned about. Hopefully you can do it. Well, it still says 1 to 4 players. But there's no rules in there, unfortunately, so that's annoying. But anyway, then I'll at least run through those new cards, because they do add enough new stuff to the game. Even though it's only 2 cards, it does add a new level of strategy to it. So yeah. And one thing you'll find when you're playing this game is there is a little bit of different strategies you can go down. You're looking at the thing there and you're seeing there's only 5 cards. How many different strategies can there be? But you might be surprised. Okay, so I'm going to do one more shuffle after this. Okay, now we're ready to begin. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so first up, real easy, we have to play this card. It's the residential area, so this is going to go into the play area. Now I could stop here and just got 1 money, but obviously I've got nothing to spend it on, so there's no point stopping right now. I've got the convenience store next, so we're going to play that. Okay, now we have 2 money. So do we want to stop there and buy the convenience store? Personally, I don't think the convenience store is that big a deal. I mean, it gives you lots of money. There's another consideration here. We don't want to kind of burn through cards too much, because every time we do, we have to get rid of a card. So my thinking is, just because it's new and I haven't tried this solo version before, my thinking is I want to try the office and turn it over to the trade center, because this one basically allows us to kind of get away with not shuffling cards and having to actually, I just want to check on that with the solo variant. It says, because one of the things I want to make sure is that if shuffling through that method is not going to trigger a card. It says during the so during the play cards, each time you shuffle your deck, you must choose a card. So it does say every time you shuffle your deck, but I want to kind of make a call on that. And it probably something I could look it up on Board Game Geek, for example, but I do want to make a call on that. If I'm doing it via that method, I feel like maybe that is the way, because that feels like that's the only power of the card. You're getting a bad thing to do a good thing, but if it just means kind of triggering the end of the game, it doesn't necessarily feel like the best idea. So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I will just have a look on that, because I don't want to play a strategy which isn't legit. So let me just use my phone briefly until we find. So Flip City solo mode. Now, if you haven't if you haven't heard of Board Game Geek before, there is a very good wealth of information in terms of helping you through games when you are stuck and you have a thing the Flip City solo house rules. You must discard this now. This includes when the trades. Oh, hang on. Okay, so Board Game Geek is the best website. Has loads of forums. Anytime you're stuck on something, chances are someone's asked that exact same question on the Board Game Geek forums. So yeah, this says you can game end variant, mix the office and or reuse cards into the supply. Okay, so this is somebody's variant of the game using the reuse thing, which is quite nice. Ends too quickly. Yeah, so someone's created a variant, so that's no good. That's not going to help me, actually. Trade center clarity. Let's see if this helps. So this says nope. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to get the answer to that. So I kind of ruined my own tip here by saying that. So I think that what I'm going to have to do is just make a call on it and say the rules do say that every time you shuffle your card, you're actually going to take a card from there. So I feel like maybe the trade center strategy is not the way that I'm going to go down. Anyway, we carry on playing, making sure not to reveal what's behind the Central Park here. I still feel like not getting the convenience store, but there is obviously a high risk now of me going bust. So I'm going to go for it anyway. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so I got the Central Park there, but obviously got a residential area here as well. So if I reveal another residential area behind this, I'm going bust. I didn't reveal another one, so that's good. So basically now I'm going to stop because I can, and I'm definitely going to go bust if I play that. Add up all my money, so it's 1, 2, 3. So I've got 3 money. I am going to buy the office because it's the only thing I can buy that's worthwhile for me, and I'm going to basically add that to my discard pile. That's the end of my turn. Technically I could have added, I bought another card because of the Central Park ability, but obviously I'm not going to do that because I have no money. So we discard all of these. They go in the discard pile, and now we begin my next turn. And it's as simple as that, really. So it's a quite quick game, but it's quite fun as well. All right, so we got the apartment. We have to play that. Now, the annoying thing is I'm going to play this, and I'm pretty sure that there's like a residential area behind this, which means I am going to go bust. So what I could optionally look at flipping over a residential area. So look, it's in my discard pile. It's 1 money, and it basically turns that into an apartment, which is a necessary. It's like a residential area, but you don't have to play it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end my turn. I'm going to flip as my action. So I use that, and I'm going to flip that card for the 1 money. It becomes an apartment, and now this is gone, and that's the end of my turn. So now actually I'm down to 3 residential areas, which is nice. I mean, it basically minimizes. Hi, thank you so much. No, I am not going to ignore you this time. I can see you on the chat there. I made sure of it this time. So thanks for joining, Xate. How are you doing today? I'm going to carry on taking my turn, but I'm going to keep an eye on chat in case you have anything to say, which I'm sure you will. Okay, so hospital, I'm going to play this. This is actually worth 2 money, but I can count the number of cards in my hand, and I've got 3 cards left, and 2 of these are residential areas. So there is a chance that I reveal the, I think it's the factory. So yeah, basically I'm going to play this. Oh, hi Tom, thank you for tuning in. How far into the game? Just started. Have you played this game before? If not, I can give you sort of like an up-to-date thing. But yeah, thank you. Oh, look at all those emojis. Amazing set there. I think I like the meeple with the trophy. That's pretty cool. Okay, so this is a very simple game to play. It's a micro deck builder. So it's called Flip City. It's a micro deck builder. There's only like 6 cards in the game, including a mini expansion. So you actually just play with 5 cards. We've got the residential areas, which on the other side are apartments. So all of these cards are double-sided. We've got the convenience store, which is on the other side a shopping mall. We've got the office, which is a trade center. We've got the hospital, which is a church on the other side. And then we've got the factory, which is a... well, we haven't got a factory, but on the other side of the factory, we've got a power plant. And then on the other side of the Central Park, we've got the station. So all of these cards have double-sided because when you have them in your deck, they have to be the right way up. But you can flip them to make them better cards, generally. So the game is a sort of push-your-luck deck-building game. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is to gain as much money as I can by playing cards from the top of my deck with money on, but without going bust. I have an unhappiness limit of 2. So if I get to 2 unhappiness, which are the sad faces in this play area, I'm fine. But if I exceed that, I immediately go bust and I don't get to do anything like buying a card on my turn. So if I play cards with money and I don't go bust, I can stop my turn at any time that I'm allowed to, and then I can use that money to either buy a new card, which is the money on the top right. I can flip a card in my discard pile, which is the money in the bottom right, and that basically upgrades the card. Or I can develop, which is to basically... I also don't want you to get to unhappiness. Me neither. I feel very happy today, so I think... also, I have borrowed sort of a nice light. I don't think it's quite as bright as I'd like it. But it's a nice bright light, so it might have increased the sort of quality of the video in this turn. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works, but I think I will have to invest in some lights because I really feel like it's going to make a big difference to the quality of the video that you're watching. Anyway, so yeah, you buy, flip, or develop, which is to buy a card and immediately turn it over, but for the cost of both. You can only buy 1 card, or you can flip 1 card from your discard pile, or you can develop 1 card, adding it to your discard pile. And there's some other things, like when you play cards, there's some rules, but I'll kind of just read out the rules and kind of keep you up to date on that. So that's how the game works. I'm playing the solo mode. Every time I go through my entire deck and I have to shuffle it, I have to get rid of one of these cards. There's 4 of each of them. So eventually, after so many turns, I'm going to run out of cards. But if I want to win, I have to achieve the victory condition, which is to play basically 8 of these victory point symbols on the bottom left of that card, like a rosette symbol. If I play 8 of those during the game, during my turn without going bust, I win. But there's another way of winning, which is if I play the convenience store and I play 18 cards in a single turn, then I can also win. But I feel like in a solo game, that doesn't seem quite as likely to happen. So yes, if you have any more questions about the game, just ask. I can see the chat, so I'll happily answer them. Anyway, so we played the hospital, which is 2 money, so I could stop there and basically, and the reason I get 2 money, by the way, is because there's 1 there, but there's the unhappiness, and the rule for the hospital is when you play it, you gain 1 money for each unhappiness you gained this turn. That includes that one. So that's, I've got 2 money, so I could either basically buy a convenience store, or I can keep going. I feel like I'm going to keep going because I don't think I want a convenience store yet. So let's reveal it and hope the factory is there. Unfortunately not. The factory, so basically the residential area is the horrible card in this game. If it's on the top of my deck, I must play it, and you can already see I've got 2 unhappiness here, but because I have to play this, I have to play this into the play area, and I've busted because I've created too much unhappiness. By the way, one other cool thing about this game, I don't know if you can see it based on the quality of the video, but all of the cards basically line up to sort of create like streets and stuff. I don't know if this is coming across, but basically there's like these lines that kind of, you can see the streets kind of go down, so it kind of forms like an actual city, so it's really cool. It's almost like a very sort of less a good version of the cards in oh my god, I can't remember the cards in The Fugitive, that game by Tim Fowers, where they kind of tell a story. But yeah. Alright, so now begin the next round. I've got 1 card in my deck. It says if my deck is not empty, place the bottom card from your deck into your discard pile, but actually doesn't matter. So I get 2 money. Now, at this point, I can choose to stop there, or I can choose to shuffle my deck to see what the top card is. But bear in mind, if the top card is a residential area, I have to play it. That wouldn't be too bad unless I had like 3 residential areas in a row. So I think I'm pretty confident in being able to carry on at this point, and I'm going to shuffle. And because the cards are double-sided and you don't really want to kind of mess up kind of the what do I call it, mess up the kind of order or the sides of the card, because if you dropped your deck, for example, they'd all fall over the floor and then you'd lose how many you've turned over and stuff. There is a rule in the game that says obviously be careful, but if you do drop them, you must revert them all to the like cheaper, the more basic side, because the reverse side of each of these cards tends to be better. So I'm going to do 1 more shuffle after this, and there we go. So I've got Central Park on the top. Sorry about that. I had just looking up at the sky there. So I've got the Central Park. I can play this. There's no reason not to, because I don't think I'm going to get 3 residential areas in a row. Okay, so if I play this now, I'll have 4 money, and then I can buy a hospital, which is actually not a bad shout. So I am going to play this and hope that I don't get 2 residential areas in a row. Okay, I'm a bit worried now, because I got 1 residential area, but as long as the other one isn't a residential area. Okay, phew, I'm good. Gonna stop there, because as you can see, I've got 2 unhappiness, but this means I've got 2 money, 3, 4, 5 money. Yes, thank you. Thanks for your support there. That's very cool. So yeah, basically now I've got 5 money. Is it 2, 3, 4, 5? So 5 money. I can buy a factory, or I can buy another hospital. I'm gonna buy the hospital because what I want to do, my usual strategy when I'm playing this game. Oh, you know what? I didn't get rid of one of these cards. I wasn't planning on buying. You know what? I also missed the stupid thing where I could have just got free money, but it's fine. It actually doesn't matter. Would the hospital give you 3 money as there are 2 unhappiness symbols? Only when you play it. So it says for each one you gained this turn, but that's not that's a little bit ambiguous. But I've checked this because I've played this a few times, and it's only when you play the hospital any cards that happened before it. And I have checked that. I will double check it again if you want, because I think it's a fair point. But it says, how do I calculate how much cash I gain from a hospital? Simply count how many unhappiness you have when you play the hospital, including the one on the hospital itself. Yeah, so it's when you play it. But yeah, good point. It's worth always questioning these things, because that could have meant I got more money, but no, I get actually just 5. 2 from the hospital this turn. But the good news is, if I played another hospital now, I would actually gain 1, 2, 3, 4. for that hospital, so it's quite good. It can work. Anyway, I am going to buy the hospital, and I also should have got rid of this when I shuffled the deck. So I should have done that. So I'm going to buy a hospital. It's going to go into my discard pile. That's the end of my turn because I don't think I'm going to spend anything else. Yeah, that's it. Cool. I also could have bought I could have also developed the convenience store because I had 5 and I could have spent the 2 and then immediately then another 3 to sort of flip it into the shopping mall, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, maybe worth also looking at the cards I've got in here. What I really want to do now, because I've got 2 hospitals in my discard pile, is to get 4 money, because if I flip that over to a church, basically increases the amount of unhappiness I can take in a turn, and that'll actually be quite nice. Okay, so we're going to play the convenience store for 1 money. The next thing is a residential area, so we have to play it. So there we go. So this is the card. I sillily, hi, not yet again. Thank you so much for joining, and happy Saturday to you too. I'm playing games, so it's great. How are you doing this weekend? Got any big plans? Alright, so yeah, this is the one I should have. This one has a special power that only activates when you shuffle a deck. And it says, when shuffling, you may set it aside, placing it on the top afterwards, meaning that you're just going to get free money at the start of your turn, guaranteed to be safe. So I have to remember this next time. But I am going to play it, because I think that I've only got 3 residential areas. So unless I play something else, I think there's no way I can go bust in this turn. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to play that. And I think, actually, I am going to play this, because I think I can't go bust. I don't think I've got another residential area in there. So yeah, there we go. Perfect. So I'll stop there. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 money. And you know what I said earlier on. Oh, that's nice. Everyone's just chatting, getting along. No big plans, which are the best kind of plans in my opinion. Yes, if I'm ever doing that, when I don't have the option of playing games, because playing games, board games, is frustrating in that it's very much like an organized organized people have the sort of upper hand. You can't generally spontaneously organize a board gaming session unless like you have those kind of friends who are also very much like you and will free themselves up for it. Video games, however, are my favorite activity to do when I have got no plans. That or just watching like a nice bit of TV. So yeah, the 4 money that I've just gained, I'm going to use it to upgrade a hospital to its other side. So this now becomes a church. I love plans. I love plans too, but only if I don't have too many of them. If I have too many, I kind of feel a bit like I feel like a bit sort of bogged down, even though like I'm going to enjoy everything that I plan generally. I just feel like, oh no, I've got to like do all this and I've got this to look forward to and I'm going to have no time for myself. I have tons of spontaneous board game nights and planned ones, definitely with different people, yeah. I feel like I'm the more like spontaneous person. Generally, if I'm not working, I will probably just reach out to a few people and say, hey, anyone free for games? And for the most part, you know, 1 or 2 people might be free. But yeah, I also just sometimes just like just sitting down in my flat and not doing anything at all. Okay, so we've done that. We've upgraded the church, which is great. Actually, there was nothing there. No, there was nothing there. Oh, however, I'm going to set this aside so I don't forget to put it on the top. So then we go to the next round, which is the apartment, and then another apartment. So that's 2 money. What I could do, or actually, I could just do the 1, and I could flip this residential area over. I mean, there's nothing here that's going to cost me 2 money to upgrade, and I don't want to buy the convenience store, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upgrade another residential area by flipping it. So that's the end of that turn. I'm going to play this, and actually what I can do is another residential area, flip it over, because I'm not competing with other players. It's actually more beneficial for me to do a turn like that where I'm only gaining a very small incremental upgrade, and the reason for that is because I'm not competing with anyone. The game isn't ending more by me doing lots of small incremental turns instead of like the big turns that you want. So that's actually worked out really well for me. And it means I've only got 1 residential area left, which is great. So now I'm going to shuffle the cards. I have to get rid of one of these. I kind of going for the victory points here, so I got to be careful and make sure I'm not going to get rid of anything with a victory point. I think I'll get rid of another convenience store because I don't really want to buy those. So that's that. Now I'm going to shuffle my deck. I'm going to make sure I shuffle it the right way. Yeah, so here we go. So Sate said, if I don't have a lot scheduled and deadlines, I end up doing nothing. Need the plans, need the stress. It's funny how that works, that how some people really need to kind of like plan everything. My partner's very much the same. You know, he'll want to kind of like have plans way in advance, and like I feel like he feels a bit aimless and lost if he's not planning something. So that's That's something that I'm not very much the same kind of person. I'm definitely not that kind of person. Yeah. Can you hear the music, by the way? I've put some background music on, and just to kind of keep it a bit more like flowing. But if it's not working for any reason, just let me know and I can turn it up a little bit. So Sate says, like, now nothing planned till evening, so I'm aimlessly listening to a stranger read off my need for plans on the internet. And Tom says, I like having lots of plans, but I definitely need wind down time in between. That's definitely me as well. So there we go, shuffle this. Now I'm not going to look at it yet because I have to put the office on top first. But there we go. So there we go. We're 2 rounds into the game. I want to say round is basically when we have to shuffle the cards. And I get to play my office, which is a freebie. Well, it's a free... So what I've accidentally done there is revealed a card that I shouldn't have seen, but it's fine because I was going to play this anyway. So there we go. So this one says, flip this card and place it on top of another player's discard pile, which obviously in this game is just removing it from the game. So it would be nice to get rid of this, but actually we really need to start basically finding how we're going to get these victory points. So we've got one here now. Again, I've looked at a card I shouldn't have done, so I have to play this now, annoyingly. But yeah, I'm going to be really careful about this from now on. Okay, so this one says I may buy 1 additional time during this building phase. So if I want to buy 2 cards this round, I can. Now I'm going to be taking more of a risk now when I play this. Well, actually, because if I play this card and underneath is a residential area, then I'm screwed. So I probably won't be playing another card. So let's count how much money I've got. 1, 2, 3. Although, having said that, there's a chance there's a church under here. And if that happens, yes, I can play another card, which is great. So I've got 1, 2, 3 money. Maybe I'll buy an office. Maybe I'll just buy an office because I don't want to risk running out of stuff. So yeah, keep going. You've got this. It'll be a church. Ooh, do I do that now? I'm tempted to do that. I'm tempted to listen to that and go for it. But it'll give me 4 money, and I could buy another hospital. You're right. So you know what? I'm going to do it. It's actually okay. That's actually fine because it's not a... that's funny. It's not a church, but it's not a residential area, so that's good. So basically I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 money now. So basically I can buy another hospital. So let's do it. Buy another hospital. Perfect. So there we go. We'll take all of these cards. We'll put them back. So you did well to guide me there. So let's carry on now. So we've got the hospital, which is actually 2 money because of the unhappiness. Now there is another, and I'm at the point now where I've got how many cards left in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 cards left in this deck. One of them is a church, which would be good. One of them is a residential area, which will be very bad. We'll always tell you to press on. She can't be trusted. All right, fair enough. Well, in a press your luck game, I guess you don't get anywhere if you don't sort of press your luck a little bit. So I understand that. So anyway, flipping this card. Do I take a risk? I've got 2 money. I don't really think there's much I can do. And I do want like 4 money again because I want to upgrade that other hospital. So there we go. Perfect. Okay, so that's 3 money. Still not enough to do what I want. I could upgrade my convenience store to a shopping mall, and that kind of forces me to play on anyway, which is kind of what you want. So I'm guessing you want me to do that. Maybe I'll do that. I'll just spend the 2 money that I've got the 3 money I've got because of the hospital to upgrade this, to flip it over. So now it's a shopping mall. This will give me 2 money and a victory point, but if my deck isn't empty, I must play on 1 more card. Is the 1 residential card in your deck the only one that forces you to play it now? Yes. So I could get rid of that and then just not have to worry about it at all, which kind of feels a little bit cheaty, I guess, because that's the kind of bad card. I mean, you still have these unhappinesses, so you're still then playing a less risky game and a more kind of like do what I can with what I've got kind of game, which is a different style of game. So I'm going to keep the 1 residential area in there just for fun. I mean, it's not really a good reason to do it, but yeah. So I've spent those cards. So we're going to the next round now. We've got the factory. So if my deck isn't empty, when I place the bottom card from your deck into your discard pile. So basically what this means is I have to get rid of... No, I have to get rid of the church. That's so sad. I mean, it wouldn't have given me any money. It just made me play on a little bit, so that's fine. But it means I have to play this now. But the good news is there's only 2 cards on my deck, so I'm not going to go bust anyway. So I got this. I've got 3 money for this. I'll get 4 money if I play that, and that'll be good because I will do that, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to upgrade the other hospital in my deck to a church. So now I've got like 2 cards that can let me play on. And the irony is now maybe I should go for the convenience store, because if I get more churches, what that means is I can possibly keep going and going with without going bust, but it's very unlikely. So I could go for buying convenience store and then buying like office and then buying factory cards that don't have like unhappiness on them. The other thing I need to start thinking about now is buying these cards. So what I need is 7 money to be able to buy a Central Park and 5 to turn it over, but that'll be worth 3 victory points. So it is worth it if I need like kind of 3 of those and I'm sorted, which means technically I only have to buy 2. So anyway, that's the end of that round. I'm about to shuffle the deck now, so what I'll do is I'll put that office aside because I will have forgotten that. And now I have to remove one of these cards from play completely. I think that getting rid of a factory is the way to go. So I'm going to do this. Paving parks to station. I don't want you planning my city. Yeah, I'm not a very good city planner. I think, hey, it could be worse though. I could be like turning factories into power plants. So, so I think if you think about it that way, I'm actually doing a decent job. So I'm not polluting this whole place. Yeah, so what was I going to say? What else can I say about this game? There was another game. I think it's called. So basically, what they did is they rebranded the game because it was released. I think it's called Design Town. I think it may have been like a different publisher that took it, and it's exactly the same game. It's called Design Town, and there was slightly different cards. Or no, sorry, I apologize. They released another base game for Flip City, and it was called Flip City Wilderness. But the problem was the game was very similar to the base game, so I didn't buy that, which is very weird. So yeah, paving parks, not polluting this whole place because factories don't cause pollutions. Yeah, but I'm not buying factories. That's my thing. I'm not buying them. I'm buying hospitals and churches, and I want to get central parks, you see. So I think that's the way I'm justifying it. Anyway, so I'll do that. I did shuffle that quite a lot because I was just talking. So yeah, basically there was not polluting. Yeah, there was basically another game called Flip City Wilderness. But if you're going to buy one, if you want to buy this game, don't buy this and buy Flip City Wilderness because the cards are very similar. But I'll talk to you more about my favourite, the little expansion here called Reuse later on. There's 2 new cards in there which we'll get to later on. Anyway, I do support your dedication to medical care and spiritual development. Me too. Anyway, so we've got the office. It's just the theme I'm rolling with. I like that the hospital has got a little heart symbol in place of the O. I don't know why I find that so twee, but it is. Anyway, so we've got the hospital. I think we're going to play it because we've got enough churches now that we don't have to worry too much about going bust. So this is going to be 3 points, 3 coins. If I play this, as long as it's not the residential area, I'm fine. But there may be a church. It's more likely to be a church, to be fair. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I could get 6 money here, and actually I'd be very close to doing that. So I think I'm going to do that. Don't be a residential area. Oh, look, this is wonderful. Because look, I've got my church out now. And that means that I can't go bust without meaning to, without trying to anyway. So basically, yeah, this means that now my unhappiness limit is 3. You'll see I've got 2. And because I've got the residential area, I have to play it. So it actually goes up to 3. But it's fine because I've got the church to cover me. So how much money did I make there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, isn't that lovely? Because we wanted the Central Park. So that's actually wonderful. Let's take the Central Park. We'll put it into our pile. And there's nothing else. Oh, well, that one actually forced me to play the next card anyway. So, yeah, that's good to know that I'm not really paying attention to the rules very much. There we go. So now we've got lots of... can we cheer you up? Here, have a happy emote. Thank you for that. That looks like a cup of tea with rainbow colouring. That's actually really nice. Wonder what kind of drink that would be though. Anyway, apartment. So lots of unhappiness, but it's fine because the church saved us. So we've got an apartment again. May as well carry on. Yeah, we'll carry on. I can't go bust now, I don't think, because I've got rid of the card that forces me to play on. I could buy 1 additional time this phase. Let's try it. Yeah, okay, so if my deck's not empty when I play this, Pridachino. Great name. So this basically gets rid of the bottom card, which is an apartment. And yeah, I can keep going. Now, the problem with this is I am now going to shuffle. I shuffled my card and I did remove 1, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to get rid of another convenience store. Going to get rid of that one. because we are about to shuffle the cards again. Oh, and we keep the office to the side, so I'm not going to forget that. Now we're going to keep going because we want to get more money and we want to buy another Central Park mini. And we're on 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment. Plus we have the opportunity to carry on playing a little while before we go bust because we've increased the limit there. So that's another thing. I won't spend so long shuffling this time. It's just really hard to like find somewhere to look that's not really weird, and just maybe look at the myself in the camera on the side there and go like, how can I not look weird when I'm playing this game? Okay, all right, there we go. And then this card is my office card, I believe. Yes, okay, good. So I'm definitely going to get another card now from that. Residential area, I have to play it, but it's fine. I'm still not bust. If my deck is not empty, I must play an additional card. So I have to play You Look Weird, never. I'm a weird looking Vala. Anyway, so I'm up 1, 2, 3. I could play this, but it means that if it's an apartment, which it could well be, I would go bust. So I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Although I really want to, because it would allow me to buy another Central Park. So I might take a risk here. It could be a church, you never know. Look at that, it's a church. So I have to play this card because of this, but that's fine. And actually it means I could play this one. So I'm actually on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 now. And that actually means that I could buy this, or I could buy another church. So what we call develop. Oh my gosh, Tom, that's so nice. Thank you so much for the subscription. That's so kind. That's awesome. You are like a legend. Amazing. You've actually, I think you've unlocked my emote now. So if you go and you check, I've got like the little giggle symbol in the thing. That's super kind. Oh man, I have the best viewers. Awesome. That's awesome. I'm just like so happy. That's very kind. And you're actually supporting charity in this, because all of the money I'm raising this month is actually going to charity. So thank you very kindly. Man, I've forgotten my turn now. So yeah, I've got 8 money. So what I can do is I can turn this into a church. So actually, Tom. Oh, so it's basically Black Lives Matter charity. I actually looked through. I think there was Act Blue, I think, with the charities that I was looking at for last month. And if I'm just going to do some more research before I actually do it, but it'll be something that supports, you know, like this kind of incredible movement that we're going through right now. By the way, did anyone watch? Did anyone see that Eric Lang basically got? Yes, there we go. So you've got the little smiley face now. Did you see that Eric Lang got his Twitter account back? Because if you didn't see that, that was great news. A great start to the day. Yes, so perfect. Anyway, so I've got 1, 2, 8. But actually, I could keep going. So I could keep going a bit. I think I'm on 4, but I've got 3 unhappiness. So if I played this, I would get basically another money. But it's whether I can spend it or whether I should just go. Oh no, this is what happens in dark mode. I might, maybe it's worth me putting like a white border around it. I could do that, and that might make it easier to be seen, and then it won't matter whether you see it on white or black there. So yeah, totally something I can do, easy. Yes, I'm gonna just take the church, I think, because I do want to go on and play loads of cards. There we go. The main thing is, can Tom see it? Because it's Tom's emoji now. So anyway, that's done. Yes, and now I have a discard pile. I'm worried I'm going to do... Could you make it the blue from your logo instead so it show up on black and white? I could do that, actually, yeah. The funny thing is about that logo, it was just a accidental... Because my friend actually came up with the logo, including the colour blue, and I just think it's a nice colour because I don't think I've seen that used anywhere else, like a kind of pale blue. In terms of the board game community. So it's actually really nice that, you know, we kind of have a colour. It's like the Dice Tower is known for being like a dark blue, and then Sit Down is like orange and yellow. And, you know, for Chits and Giggles is like, what's the other big, no pun included. Well, they were a kind of bluey yellow as well, actually. Bears is red, yes. So that's the thing. People have like these colours, and I like the colour blue. I think it's awesome. Anyway, so... By the way, funny story, when I was asked, when people ask me what my favourite colour is, I say orange, but it's not because I put a lot of thought into choosing that colour. It's just I was asked when I was like 5 or 6, and I remember the only colour of Smarties that I enjoyed were the orange ones, because it was like the only ones with the flavour. So ever since then, I've been like, yes, that's my favorite color, even though there's like no legitimate reason. I'm not like thought, what color do I actually like? But I'll just always say orange because it's just, yeah. Anyway, so I've got an apartment there, an apartment here. I can't play this, so I'm gonna have 2 money. But what do I do with this money? Do I upgrade or do I buy a convenience store? Nothing. Oh, I could upgrade the residential area, but I think I really need to start upgrading these cards now. I think I might actually buy a convenience store. I think that's what I'm going to do, just so it's something useful. Guess you'll have trouble rapping about your favourite colour then. Yes, that's so true. Like, yeah, it's not an easily rhymable word there. In fact, I don't think there's any words that rhyme with it. Okay, so we've got a starting new turn. Hospital gains us 2 money because of the ability. And we've got the Central Park there, which means we can buy twice. We have to get rid of another card now because we're about to go into another thing. Now, which card shall I get rid of? I don't think I'm going to buy any more of these hospitals. I think I've already got enough of these. Tom, yeah, and the funny thing is you're actually showing up in purple on my screen, like your name is purple. Can you choose that? Is that something you choose? I've never really thought about that. And also, because you're a subscriber now, you have like a purple kind of first next to. Oh, okay, so you can choose. Okay, so maybe I'll just look and find an orange one. I don't think, or maybe I'll just find a new color. Maybe I can choose. Maybe I can choose the colour of the logo, the Chits and Giggles logo. We'll never know. Oh, do you know what? Before I do that, I always forget this. Put this office to the side. Oh, okay. Wow, I literally did not know that. And you'd think I would, knowing that I'm like actually streaming. But yeah, it's funny because I always thought like, oh, how does it know what colours to like choose for players in this sort of window? Is that a hex colour or is it just like you have to choose from specific colours? I imagine it's the second one. Anyway, we'll do that. We'll shuffle it one more time just in case, but yeah, there we go. And we put that back on top and now we're done. So I got rid of the hospital. No, I didn't. So I have to get rid of that. So we're on actually our fifth turn round. This. Oh, tested my red color across black and white themes to make sure it was easy to notice. That's what I call planning ahead. That's something I need to learn to do. All right, so we got the office. So that's an easy play there. Then we've got the shopping mall, which means we play again, but I think that's fine. You can also go into chat settings, identity edit at the bottom. Okay, well I think I found something I'm going to do afterwards. But it's funny because I actually did always notice that you Kate were green and Tom always was purple. But and actually, yeah, not yet again. But I just didn't know. I thought it was just random and it just kept you the same color. I didn't know it was like a purpose decision. That's cool though. All right, so we've got the shopping mall. I am going to play this. Okay, look. So we have to play the Central Park, which means we have to play the residential area because it's the top deck. And then here we go. Can you see that? Is that still invisible? I think I need to go a little bit over. Is it because of this is sliding somewhat? No, I think it's fine. I think I'm just hogging all of that. So yeah, basically now I've got 2 unhappiness, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 money. I can't play this card because it will make me go bust, but I've got 5 money. Annoyingly, if I had a Central Park in my discard pile, I could actually upgrade that, but that's obviously annoying that I can't do that. But I've got 5 money, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 victory points actually. I'm literally 3 away from winning the game. Anyway, so what shall I spend that money on? I can actually buy an office, I can buy a factory. I can't buy Central Park annoyingly, but I think maybe office is the better of the two because I don't really fancy adding more of these in. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to buy the office, and that's good because it means we can get more money when we shuffle it again. So I'm going to take this, put it aside, because I don't want to forget that I have to put that on top because I already did once. So there we go. That's the end of that turn, and we play on, and hopefully we'll get 5 money because that will upgrade it to a 3-pointer, and then we may actually be in with a chance of winning the game then. So I want 5 money minimum this round. So let's do the apartment first. There we go. Well, that's a great start because I actually revealed the church, which means that I can go on and gain another unhappiness. Well, let's do the apartment. Okay, great. So if I got the convenience store, may as well because I think my only bustable card is there. Okay, perfect. We've got another church now. So that increases the limit of unhappiness we can gain. We've got the factory, so this is going to get rid of my bottom card if I play it, but I've got 1, 2, 3 money, so I do need to play on. But it's fine, because actually this will give us the 5 money that we need. So we do the apartment, that gets discarded, and, all right, cool. So I've got the church again, so actually this church strategy is very much paying off for me right now. So I'm actually at a point now where I've got I can afford 2 more unhappiness. 2 more unhappiness here. So I've got the 5 money. So I could keep going and try and get the 12 to just basically straight up buy a station. Because I have another church here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It means losing another card, but I think that's my best option right now, because I'm never going to be in a situation again maybe where I'm going to be able to play three churches in a go. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, so now I've got this situation. So I've got, yeah, I can still accept 2 more unhappiness, and I'm going to get 2 money from this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I can definitely afford at least one of those. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to shuffle these cards. Anyway, if anyone is watching and wants to kind of suggest a game that I should check out, like, because I've been playing a lot of solo games on the stream over the weeks for obvious reasons, and actually I'm looking to add more to my collection now. I know there have been some really good solo games released lately. One of them unfortunately looked really good, but it's by a company that was very notorious for kind of having a very bad Kickstarter campaign and asking for money, so I don't really want to buy that one. I think it was called Unbroken or something. It's kind of tainted annoyingly. But if another publisher were to pick it up and buy it, I think I would probably buy it. But yeah, then there's So You've Been Eaten, which is a 1-player game as well. And then there's a new one by Czech Games Edition, I think, which is called Under Falling Skies. That one also seems pretty cool. But I actually haven't played that many other solo games. Okay, so it says, and the 2 offers you don't have unhappiness, which you'll play first. Exactly. But the thing is now, let's just play one of them first. Xate says, have you played Assembly from Ren Games? No, actually, but I do follow Janice on Twitter, so I might. Probably not the best thing to do, drink in the middle of a sentence. I don't know why I did that, but no, I might actually try and find that to play, because the game looks very abstract. It looks really nice, don't get me wrong, and looks abstract. But the problem is that like a game like that really has to like appeal to me, so I'd have to see it being played. Do you know what? I'll check a YouTube video afterwards and I'll just see how it plays, and if I like it, I'll buy it. There's actually another games I wanted to buy as well. I want to buy Abandon All Artichokes by is it Nikki? I want to say Nikki. Is it Nikki? Emma Larkin, I think. And I also want to oh, I just see in the chat thing, but before I forget, the other game that I want to buy is, I had it the other day, it's Encore by The Brands. I wanted to buy that as well. So Tom says, oh yeah, I was on that Kickstarter, shame because it's a pretty solid game. They got kicked off Kickstarter and have set up their own version now. I know, I don't want to get into that, but that's just crazy how they've done that. I really don't, I just hope that it doesn't succeed, because if it does, then it shows that being sort of manipulative and being sort of like kind of sinister and bad, being the bad guys, pays off. I don't want to live in a world where that is. And Kasate says, I'm biased, I helped out a bit with them, but it's fun, especially with the expansions. Yes, and then they've released a couple of expansions for that now. So I will be checking out that game for sure. Okay, so let's just look and let's recap where we are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 money. So it means we could buy a Central Park. We're actually also on 1, 2, 3 unhappiness, but we've increased our limit to 5. So we could actually take 2 more unhappiness without going bust. Do I want to try and go for 12 money so I can get this Central Park and develop it in the same turn? Or do I want to stop there, buy a Central Park, be done with it? I think because every time I shuffle my deck, I'm going to have to buy, I'm going to have to get rid of cards. And I've only got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards left. I may well do that because it's easier to see then. Yeah, that's probably better for you guys to see at home, just how many cards there are left. Every time I shuffle, because of the solo variant, I have to get rid of one of these cards, and if I run out of them, I've lost the game, unless I win the game beforehand. Very weirdly worded sentence, but I hope that made sense. Okay, so I think maybe going for the 12 is probably alright at this point. I'm not going to be able to get any more, I need to get 4 more, well 3 more including this, and I think I've got at least one of the factories in there. So let's just play on. Okay, we've got the Central Park. Yeah, we've got the Central Park. I could buy twice this turn. The Hospital, which would be very good. This might be enough to win, actually, to get 12. Because look at this. Okay, so listen, this is what happens. When you play the Hospital, it basically gives you 1 money for every unhappiness that you've got this turn. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, I'm on 1. So I'm going to count at the money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 10, 11, 12, 13. So there we go. I can buy a Central Park. I can develop it, immediately turn it into a station, and there we go. So there we go. Now, that doesn't count. I'm not winning yet. I've only played 2 victory points that whole turn, which is frustrating. But I think I'm in a better place to win this game now. So let's just get rid of all of these cards. That was a big turn, actually. If I'd played 6 more, I could have won the game. But I don't think I had 6 more. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I only have 5 more in my entire deck. So there's no way I would have won. Because, yeah, in case you didn't know, the convenience store card, when you play it, gives you the added ability. Oh, before I do that, let's put the offices to the side. I wish there was an easier way of remembering that. I'm so bad at remembering it. Anyway, so the station goes in there. Okay, so we play the Central Park. The apartment, fine. That's fine. The shopping mall, if my deck's not empty, I have to play another one. Well, I mean, that's fine. I'll play that one anyway, so that's great. And now I'm going to shuffle. I mean, I have to get rid of one of these, and I think this is my best option to get rid of, I think, because there's lots of those. So get rid of that, out of the game completely. We'll put these and make sure we don't forget about them. I'm going to shuffle. Yeah, so anybody who's watching, oh, thank you so much, Not Yet Again, for stopping by. And hopefully you'll have a fun weekend as well. I'm going to meet some potential new flatmates this evening, and then I'm probably going to do more Paper Mario tonight if anyone wants to join and watch that, because I've been having a lot of fun with that, doing some voice acting, even though I'm not a voice actor at all. And then tomorrow I'll probably be playing more games. I'm actually thinking about doing either the Networks Scythe or another go of Freshwater Flags. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully see you again. Anyway, so more solo games, more solo game recommendations if you have any. That would be lovely. Okay, so there we go. One more time for shuffling this, and then topping it up with the offices. There we go. Okay. Yeah, same side. He says. Yeah, I know. Bit ambitious, but I feel like I could do it. I feel like I could do it. I'm not sure if it's worth it, but I could do it. I mean, I've got nothing else planned, and my partner is away in work all day, so it's a good time. That's my favorite game, but I won't have time to watch tomorrow. I know it is a big game, to be fair. Yes. Anyway. Okay, so we've got the offices. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 money. 4 money at the moment. Although, yeah, I was just thinking, actually, we had 4 money and we had a discard pile, but there's nothing in there that would have been enough anyway, so that's fine. So let's play this one. So we've got the officers 5 money. Again, we need at least 7 to be able to buy another Central Park, so that's 6 money. Okay, we've got a church. That ups the number of unhappiness, which is good because now we can't go bust. Petrichor. That's the biological style game, right? Where you're playing like either as a virus or some kind of like amoeba thing. Is that right? I feel like that's the game. I've definitely seen it before. I've not played it though. So the apartment goes there. That does mean, however, that I can't play this next card, which would have been nice because it would have gained me 1, 2, 3, 4 money. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's okay. We've got enough to buy another one. It's the one where you're putting raindrops in clouds and then raining on crops for points. Yes. Now you've said that, I'm like, yes. The funny thing is, there were 2 games that came out very similar. Not Petrichor, but Bosk and Photosynthesis, and they came out sort of fairly close to one another, like within a year maybe. And I just remember like playing Photosynthesis and not really enjoying it 'cause it's quite fiddly, and then everyone was like, oh, but Bosk is amazing, and I never played it because my experience with thing. But Petrichor sounds awesome. I actually really want to check that out now that you've said that, especially now it's got a good solo mode. Oh wait, so no, I bought this. I didn't put it in my thingy. Sorry, I'm kind of overthinking. So yeah, that's the end of that. So we go and we put those to the side. Don't forget that. And then we've got. Did I play any victory points that turn? I played 3 victory points. That's fine. We can do that. Okay, so we got the hospital, which is annoying because it comes in early on in the game because that doesn't give you that much benefit from it. Just wondering if I need to adjust my camera a little bit. There we go. Cool. I think that's fine. Yes, anyway. So we've got the hospital, so that's 2 money. We're going to play the Central Park. We're going to play the factory, but we have to get rid of the bottom card. Hopefully it's not a church. It's not a church, it's an apartment. That's good. So we've got another church now, so we can carry on playing. So let's play this. We're going to do the convenience store. Why not? I'm not even thinking about this. I'm just kind of going with it. Another church, of course. That's going to be good for us. Then we've got the station. Okay, wonderful. So station's good. So now actually we've got 1 unhappiness, and we've got a limit of 4. So we can play 3 more unhappy faces before we go bust, which is an apartment. But that's how much money we've got now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually not that much money, is it? 5. Oh, hang on. We could stop right now and upgrade a Central Park into a station. I think that's the way to go. You've also got 5 VP out. You're right. I don't know whether to keep going. I don't think I've got any more victory points in there though. I think there was 1 in my deck to start with and 4 more of these cards. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got no more in my deck though. But well spotted. I'm actually going to turn the Central Park into a station. I think that's the... I think that's better. That means I'm more likely... Look, then I'll have like... Then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 victory points on cards. I've got 2 parks. 2 parks. Yes, but they're in my discard pile. So they're in my discard pile, those 2 parks. Which I just turned 1 into a station, and then there's 5 cards total of that in the deck, so there's no more in here. So if I kept playing, I could have kept playing, to be fair, and tried to draw those cards, but I've already made the decision. I'm going to just upgrade it to a station, but that's a very good point, actually. Very good point. I've done it now. I've done it. For better or for worse, I've done it. So we're going to get rid of all these cards. I could have flipped 1 more time, actually, but actually it doesn't matter. So that's that. That's the very chunky discard pile. Look at that. There's a lot of cards in there. Actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 cards total now. So if I play every single card, there's a chance I could win. Anyway, I'm going to play that, and I have to get rid of a card. I'm going to get rid of the office card because I have to get rid of one because I'm about to shuffle my deck again. As you can see, this game is kind of only bogged down slightly in the number of times you... only in the solo mode, by the number of times you play, have to shuffle your deck. But in the normal game, because you kind of take turns, you obviously shuffle your cards. Sometimes you have to do it on your turn. Actually, no, you generally have to do it on your turn as well. It's very rare that you would have to shuffle your card on somebody else's turn. So it's weird like that. It's very weird. It's kind of like slows down the gameplay a bit. But I enjoy the game. I'm not gonna lie, and it's not. It's almost. It is solitaire, but for the fact that you have the apartment cards where you can like basically give somebody residential areas, but it's quite mean. Imagine the only interactive thing you can do in the game is like a mean thing where you will hate somebody, and it's quite unbalanced. Obviously, you're only going to pass the apartment buildings to somebody who is in the lead or looks like they're in the lead, but anyone can be in the lead. It's really hard to sort of tell, and generally you'll kind of know from how many times players have gone bust, because when a player goes bust, it really does sort of like set them back a little bit. So there's the office cards on the top. And here we go. So I've got an apartment here. I've got the office number 1 and office number 2. And I've got the convenience store. And I've got another apartment. Now there is a chance, by the way, that there is a residential area on here. But I'm going to take a chance that there's not. Okay, cool. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 money. I could buy another Central Park if I keep going. I think I'm going to keep going. It does seem to be a game I'd rather be far more inclined to play solo. You know what? Yes. I would say, how about if you thought about it as a game that's a really good solo game, but with multiplayer ability. That's what I'd say, because it is quite nice. It's quite a nice game. I do enjoy it. Oh, thank God I picked the church up. To be fair, there was way more of a likelihood of me drawing a church than there would have been drawing in a residential area, but, you know, I might have been cursed with bad luck, so there was a risk there. So anyway, I played the church, and another church. Actually, this could be it. This could be the turn I win, guys. This could be it. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 money. But if I play the hospital, which is 6, 7, 8, 9, if I get 3 more, but I want to keep playing because like I've got 3 victory points at the moment, and I'm up to 4 limits, so I can play 1 more unhappiness without going bust. So I've got that. If my deck's not empty, I must play another card, so I have to play this. But there's a church coming up, so that gives me more flexibility. So I've got that. Now, annoyingly, because I think I only have 18 cards. No, I have 18 cards, but because I play the factory, it's going to make me discard a card, so I don't get to play that. So I would have been like very close. Anyway, what am I on right now? 5 limit of unhappiness, 4, 3, 2. So I can draw 2 more. Let's keep going. Why not? How much money am I on right now? I have to get rid of the bottom card, which is a Central Park. That's not the best, but it's not the worst. That's going to be annoying because you can't see that. You're at 6 points. Yes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to keep going, right? If I get 1 more card down, I could win. So I'm on 1, 2, 3 unhappiness, and I can afford 5. So yeah, let's play the apartment. I win, guys. I win. The station's in. I've done it. I've won the game. I should move this slightly up so you can see it. My victory. My victory in full HD glory. So this is my final turn. So I've got the all of these, and then I've got the final one there, the station, which is a 3-pointer. So let's just say we got the apartment, which is 1 unhappiness. This is my limit, by the way. So then I got another unhappiness. No, sorry, that was my limit. No, that's fine, because if I get to this, no, if I exceed this, sorry. And then I played the church, which gave me an extra limit, and another church. I got another unhappiness, and then I got another church, and I got another unhappiness. But as you can see, then I gained 3 points here. I got another one here, then another 2, so that's at 6, and then I got the last 3. So I got 9 victory points, and I win. And I actually had 4 cards left in the end. So that strategy of buying the hospitals and sort of turning them to churches was really useful in the end. So yeah, that's Flip City, and in fact, it took me a lot longer to play that than I thought it would, because obviously I love chatting with you guys. So anyway, what I'm going to do, instead of going through the game again, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to talk to you about the Flip City Reuse expansion pack, because this is a very good expansion pack in my opinion. It makes the game a lot better, and I don't think this one increases the amount of sort of like playability in the game, but it certainly is. It gives more. No, it's not interactivity in the game, but it certainly gives it a more interesting gameplay. So look, we've got the 2 new cards that are revealed. Obviously, you've got a rule card there. Nothing in here about what you call it. But I've just thought about something as well before we go into the reuse expansion pack. When I chose to play this game, I added the office expansion in, which I may not have done. Had I not added the office expansion in, obviously I would have changed my strategy, because I was using the office a lot. But I would have actually run out of cards, because there's only 4 of those. So I actually might have lost the game. But then maybe I would have gone down a different strategy, and maybe, would have changed things up. So it's never, I'm not 100% sure, but there is a good chance I would have lost that game had I not played with the expansion in it. So anyway, we're talking about the Office Mini expansion, but obviously now I want to talk about the Flip City Reuse expansion. So yeah, basically, actually, what I'm going to do, just for the benefit of people who's just tuning in, just going to do that so you can see what game we're talking about. So the Flip City, we've got the Renewal Agency. So this is all about, like, thematically, the cards are all about like reusing, recycling, and eco-friendly stuff. So we've got this one, which is the Renewal Agency, and it's got a new symbol here, and you see that kind of purpley coin. This means that this gives you 3 money, but you can only use it for flipping and developing. So it's basically taking stuff you have and improving it, or buying something and immediately upgrading it. So it's quite nice, because that's a lot of money, but you can't use it to buy new cards. So that's quite nice, and thematically it fits as well. And as you know, this card can be used from your discard pile, flipped over. Yeah, no, that's weird. Yes, and this is, oh, so I'm at the other side of it, sorry. So this, the main side of that was the plumber shop. When you take this card, you choose and discard the top or bottom cards from all opponents' decks. So that actually is a lot more interactivity, because you can look at what the players have got, and if they've got good cards, or you see at least one good card on their decks, you can be like, get rid of that, because there's a good chance you reveal a bad card, like a residential area. So that one's quite mean. It costs 2 to upgrade it to the Renewal Agency, which we talked about, and that one, as I said, only allows you to use it to flip or develop. And then we've got the Flea Market, which is quite a good card, which does have a nice little amount of strategy to it. So it's a 2 coin to buy, and the plumber shop was 3. So you can, they kind of keeps going. It's like a replacement for the... They're not replacement, you played them in addition, but yeah. The Flea Market says, you can choose to leave this card in your discard pile when you shuffle your deck. So you can be like, well, I'll just leave that in my discard pile. And you might be thinking, why do you want to do that? Well, because you can always take a card from the Flea Market from your discard pile and basically flip it over for a money, okay? So basically, it's just another money. So say like a 1 or 2 short for something you wanted to buy, and you have some of these in your discard pile. You can use them to be like, well, I'll just gain that money now, just to kind of bump me up to the next amount that I want. On the other side is the recycling bin. And this one says, after you flip this card, you flip 1 more time this turn. So this is like basically recycling money. So when you flip this over, you have to pay to get it back to that thing. So it's like constantly going back and forth between, you're essentially investing by buying, turning a recycling bin into a flea market, because you'll get that money that you spent to turn it over can actually be used later on in the round. So it's actually really nice interactive part, and they're basically, and by doing that, even though it allows you to invest, obviously you can still do other stuff. So it's essentially one of those things where it's like, okay, I'll buy that money and I can still do my flip action this turn on something else. So it's a really good little set of cards for an expansion. And that was actually really cheap as well. I don't know how much the game actually costs now, but I think the last time I saw it for sale it was probably about £13 or something, or maybe like £16. It's a really reasonable priced game, I think. Anyway, so that's me done. So let's just go back to seeing me on the screen. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you any last chance to ask any questions, because I'm gonna wrap up the stream shortly. But yes, I guess I can talk about my sort of plans for this week. This weekend, tonight actually, I'm going to work on a script for a video that I'm working on for a game that I did show off in the stream yesterday, but it was quite late, so I'm going to show it to you anyway. Again, making sure you can't see too much of the wires. But it's a game called Die of the Dead. It was basically given to me. This is a prototype copy of a game called Die of the Dead. It's a dice throwing, it's a hidden dice game actually. It's a game where you have these coffins spaced around the Mexican Day of the Dead sort of celebration. And ultimately, you are placing these dice. You're preparing these dice. You're putting them in the coffins that you do action. But most of the coffins are hidden. And then when you activate those coffins, you kind of shake up the dice, and there's like a battle thing. So you want like have the highest thing. So it's a little bit like Risk in the sense that you want to sort of win battles by having high values of dice. But it's really there's much more to it, and it's really neat. So I'm looking forward to that. And yes, the artwork looks amazing. I can't wait to show you the artwork, because this was actually a Mexican designer called Russambella, I think. Actually, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that the designer tagged, sort of the creator of that game tagged the artist. Not tagged, but they wrote down the artist's name, so that's really cool. And then also going to be looking at how to do a how to play video for this Swatch as well, which is another a prototype version. This will be on Kickstarter next month, I believe. And this also has a solo mode, which I'm still trying to get my head around. But yeah, this is a game about sort of worker placement, almost like card drafting worker placement, and trying to sort of get really efficient engine. This is one of those games where you really need to have a very efficient engine if you want to win, and I like that. And it's quite nice because if you are inefficient, you can still win the game. If someone is inefficient and they kind of trigger the end of the game, you still have a chance to catch up, because the more inefficient they are, the more time you have a chance to kind of get in there and usurp the win. So I really like that. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. Tom, you're a legend for subscribing. That's really made my day. But yeah, if you have any questions, obviously you can contact me on Twitter. My social media is 4 Chits and Giggles on Twitter, and Instagram it's just the word for Chits and Giggles, all one word. And yeah, that's it. But yeah, it'd be lovely to hang out with you guys today. Hopefully it won't be too long. As I said, I might be streaming some Paper Mario tonight if you want, and hopefully I'll have some video content to share in the upcoming days as well. But yeah, that's it from me. So have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're doing, and until the next time, have fun playing games. Bye bye.